Welcome everyone to the Michigan Association of Secondary School Principals podcast series featuring great discussions, insight, and resources on all things related to education and administration. Welcome back to Season 5 of the MASSP podcast. My name is Ryan Casey, and we are diving right back into a conversation that we had in Episode 1 of the podcast series, discussing the return to school plans during the COVID-19 pandemic. And we had three special guests join us for the first episode, and they were gracious enough to come back and continue the conversation. All our current or former executive board members for MASSP. We have Jennifer Bustard from Mona Shores High School, Andy Kowalczyk from Bay City Central High School, and Steve Carlson from Sandusky Jr. Senior High School. So everybody, thanks again for hopping on the podcast for us. And for those who maybe don't remember or missed the first episode, could each of you just briefly share what your plan was to start the school year? Was it virtual, blended, or face-to-face? And then once we establish that, we're going to just kind of find out from the three of you how those plans went, what changed, what went well, what was a challenge, and that sort of thing. So Jennifer, if you could just share for us, what did Mona Shores start with for the school year?
You bet, Ryan. So we had offered our families two options. The first option is a hybrid model where our students are broken up into alphabet A through K and L through Z, and we call them Anchor Team A and Anchor Team B. And the students come to school 2 times a week and they learn from home 3 times a week. And so Wednesdays, it's an opportunity for students in Anchor Team A to come in the morning for academic support, and then Anchor Team B can come in the afternoon for academic support. Staff can also use Wednesdays as an opportunity to create those at-home learning videos. And we are entering into week 3, and the in-person learning has gone very, very well. Our students have been very pleased with that. Our other option for our families is virtual. It's full virtual, and about 20% of our students and their families selected full virtual. So that's what we've got going on at Mona Shores.
And how about at Bay City Central, Andy?
Yeah, we have 2 options also. We have a remote option for our students at Bay City Central, where they are learning synchronous at home with the Chromebooks, or we have a virtual model where they are doing the virtual with the other students. But we also have our CI and our EI students who are in the building. So we have 4 classes of students with IEPs that are in our building. And so that's given us a little taste of bringing the students back to us this year.
And how about at Sandusky Junior Senior High?
At Sandusky, we had 2 options as well. One option was full 5 days face-to-face, and that's all the students in the building, so no block scheduling or anything like that. And the other option was full virtual, so our students were able to choose a 100% virtual option or a 100% face-to-face option 5 days a week.
Okay, well, thank you for recapping that for us. So the big question is, and any of you three can jump on this first, how did the start of the school year go? When we recorded the first episode and we started this conversation, I think it was the last week on August. It was about a week prior to all 3 of your schools starting up. How did the start of the school year go? Have you been able to stick to those plans you made and what you're offering, or are things already starting to change?
Well, Ryan, I'll be happy to jump in here. We are entering our 3rd week in our schedule, and I got to tell you, the first week of school was absolutely amazing to see our students back in the building, and we have obviously very strict protocols like everyone else that's in person. And there's always that uneasiness. Our kids going to follow the rules? Our staff going to follow the rules? And I've got to tell you, I could never have been so proud to watch all of our students just really embrace the importance of the safety protocols, and they got right to it. Staff were able to welcome back our students and get into the routine. And like I said, we're into week 3, and we've got a pretty good handle of what looks what learning looks like during the day and what learning looks like when you are at home, not in person. So it's really going well. I believe our virtual program is tough. I mean, you've got to have that face-to-face conversation with teachers every day. And so we've got some hiccups there that we're working through with our families and our students. And really a lot of it comes down to virtual, is being able to provide that feedback that they get with the in-person model. So we're off to a great start, and couldn't be more proud of our students and our staff.
That's great to hear. Thank you for sharing.
At Bay City, we have had our students have been going pretty smooth. I think some of the issues that we have had were our parents or students not knowing the difference between remote and virtual, where we had to explain a lot of that. So we've had a lot of switching back and forth, and that caused problems because we then had to move other teachers from our building to virtual, because the amount of students that did go to the virtual route that didn't plan on it at the beginning of the year. So that's been kind of fluid with us, and we're to a point now where that switching has stopped. So we're getting ready to just keep moving along with our virtual and getting the schedules. That was a lot of students all at once that needed schedules and to be on our virtual platform. So there was a lot of work that went into it. And I think we knew the work was coming, but it was a lot. So a lot of people really had to step up in the district to make that successful.
Very good. And how about at Sandusky, Steve?
Similar to both Jennifer and Andy, the start of the year was better than we had anticipated. We were anticipating a successful start, but like Jennifer said, the compliance with wearing masks and the other assorted protocols, really top notch from our students and our staff, and very proud of that. The challenge has been just getting used to the new normal and having the same situation that Jen alluded to. Most of our students that have gone virtual are doing a good job of getting in and doing their work. All of their work is asynchronous, but of course we need to make sure we have that two-way interaction going. So for some students, it's been learning that it's more than just completing your work and completing it well. You have to, complete it, and you have to be communicating back and forth with your teacher. There has been a small number of students that have gone virtual that we're struggling a little bit with to connect at all. And so that's a major focus for us this week, trying to get that straightened out. We started the school year with, I believe, 19 or 20% of our building virtual. And after about 2.5 weeks, we're now at 18.9%. So overall, there wasn't a large percentage change in the number of students that switched from face-to-face and virtual, but there were, a number of students did switch, but after the switching is done, the overall proportion is close to the same. It's about 80% face-to-face, about 20% virtual.
So knowing that schools are looking at these plans really on a monthly basis, are you already having conversations with the other administrators and your superintendent at your districts about maybe what learning is going to look like in October or November, and possibly getting ready to maybe make some changes, whether, at Bay City, start going to hybrid or face-to-face, or maybe allowing people to begin making those changes that were virtual to start returning to the classroom if you were going to offer face-to-face? What are those conversations look like?
Yeah, it's funny you should bring that up. We actually have a board meeting tonight, a special board meeting, to talk about bringing students back earlier than anticipated. Our original plan was to look at it in middle of October and maybe have a end of October start back for students. But the meeting last week was heavily leaning towards coming back earlier, and they made the special meeting for tonight after they gave administrators a week to kind of come up with plans and see, can we make this work? So that board meeting will be tonight. Not sure if they're even going to vote on it, but they are discussing it pretty heavily to see if we can come back earlier, at the beginning of October. So we've been working a lot this last week to see if we can do that, if we have all the proper PPE, supplies, whatever it may be, to get back into the building sooner than we expected. So we'll be listening to our health department and see what they say, along with our board members, because we could be back sooner than later.
Interesting. And how about at Mona Shores?
So we are on trimesters at Mona Shores, and we are going to be sending out communication to our families on October 15th, letting them know that we will be continuing in the hybrid schedule for second trimester and also offer that virtual option. Those families that are in virtual who would like to come back to in-person, we will certainly allow that to happen. If anyone obviously is in hybrid that would like to go to virtual, we will do that. We are having conversations about the length of time that it took to schedule in-person and virtual using the staff that we have, maybe even having a conversation about that would be locked in for the remainder of the year. Tremendous amount of effort and resources took place to get this schedule up and running. So that's what we hope to have the data back by October 30th so that we know what families are choosing, and then we'll spend the rest of November scheduling and getting ready for the start of second trimester.
Thank you for sharing that, Jen. Steve, since you are already offering face-to-face instruction at Sandusky Junior Senior High, maybe for you then the question is, are you already having conversations or are parents already asking about maybe bringing some of their students virtually back to face-to-face maybe earlier than you are going to offer or plan, or possibly vice versa, from face-to-face back to virtual?
Well, we've had a decent amount of students switch from their original choice. So in other words, we had a decent amount that started face-to-face decide they want to try virtual, and we had almost equal amount start virtual that have come back face-to-face. But again, the proportion has stayed about the same. It's about 80-20 face-to-face. We would like to continue offering face-to-face as we are, and the virtual option alongside of it for families who choose that. What we're focused on right now at Sandusky, though, is making sure that our face-to-face students fully understand how to use all of our learning tools, our LMS, how to access content. And to be clear, all the tools we're using this year are new to us. So right now we're working through kinks on just how to submit and upload assignments, because as easy as that sounds like it should be, everything that's new, it takes a little bit of time to get through the learning curve. We're not predicting, we're not forecasting that we would volunteer to go to a fully virtual setting, but we're trying to make sure that if we are forced into that situation where we have to go fully remote for an extended period of time, that our students that are currently face-to-face would be able to much better navigate that virtual learning world than any of us could do back in the spring. So no discussions right now really about switching what we're offering. We feel that what we're offering is working. We're just trying to make both the face-to-face and the virtual options better, and we're trying to make sure our face-to-face students are prepared for the possibility of an extended period of remote learning again.
You make a good point there too. It's interesting because although everybody would love everything to be done and over and safe and back to traditional face-to-face learning, how much time and resources were put into using these new tools or strategies or teaching in these different environments. And so it sounds like wisely you want to make sure that you are maximizing that time and those resources that you put into those tools to make sure it wasn't this one and done 1 month or 2 month thing, that you will be prepared going forward from here on out to utilize those. So thank you for sharing. Really the final question I have for the three of you, and I'm curious to see if this is similar or different, but what has been the biggest challenge with the style of learning and teaching that your school is offering? And then the follow-up is going to be, what has been the greatest reward during this challenging time that you've seen? So kind of a two-part question. I'm not sure who wants to take this one first.
I could hop in with that. The greatest reward for sure has been the resilience and the stick-to-itiveness of both students and staff. There has been very little complaining going on from students or staff, and it's just been awe-inspiring to see everyone kind of pulling together, everyone understanding that we're in this together. It can be messy at times, but everyone is really patient with each other, and we're collaborating like we've never collaborated before to try to navigate this new reality. For us, the biggest challenge is, well, let me say for me, I don't want to put words into the mouths of any of the other stakeholders. For me, the single biggest challenge is seeing how hard our staff is working, and in particular, our teachers. We don't have a single teacher who is solely face-to-face or is solely virtual. All of my teachers are doing both, and they're doing it without complaint, but they are putting in some long hours, and they're working long hours on weekends. And, my concern is for their social, emotional, and mental well-being, in addition to their physical well-being, because we know when we get stressed that we're more apt to be physically ill as well. So that far and away the greatest challenge I've seen is how hard we're asking our teachers to work right now, and what can we do to make the job a little bit easier.
Absolutely. Jen or Andy, how about you?
Yeah, Ryan, I would say to you that the biggest challenge is just really making our virtual experience as positive and as enriching as it can be. And, we're using a platform to deliver instruction. So it's not teacher-led, it's teacher-supported, and it's such a new world for our families, and just helping them navigate that, learning from home and being disciplined with that. So that's been some of the biggest challenges, and I would say the greatest rewards are whether it be a 30-year veteran teacher coming up to me and saying, oh my gosh, I just learned how to do a breakout room for Google Meet so that both my cohort A and cohort B can be together, and just see the joy in her eyes, and to see the kids getting a chance to play a sport and a simple game of volleyball, and they get so excited. The joy in their eyes and the joy in the parents have been unbelievable. Parents recognizing that the work that we did absolutely took a lot of thought, a lot of research, a lot of collaboration, and taking time to actually be thankful for that. And I can't thank them enough for that. So it's been an amazing ride, and it's a lot of hard work, but it's certainly paying off because our kids are so grateful, for sure.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. And for you, Andy?
I agree 100% that, with what the others have said about how hard the teachers are working, and with us being remote, administrators do hop on the Zoom meetings in the classrooms, and we get to see the teachers working, and it's amazing seeing what the teachers have put out there. It's just like a classroom, but on the computer. But I think one of the challenges with that comes the students turning off their cameras and kind of zoning out. I've been in a few classes where the teachers have great lessons, they're asking questions, and it's very difficult sometimes to get the students to put their camera on or to answer or to discuss things. It's just kind of easy to hide in the shadows with your camera off, and not have to answer those questions. So I think teachers are working extra hard at that engagement and getting students to be part of the lesson and not just sit back and listen. So that's a difficult part. But another rewarding aspect of this is we've really had some staff members step up in the leadership category, whether it's helping with scheduling or helping other teachers with their computers and the issues that have come from some people that are not experts with the Zoom and Google classrooms. So to see staff members step up and to take those leadership roles has been really fun and enjoyable.
That's awesome. I know the three of you are crazy busy, and you've been working long hours just like your teachers have, so I don't want to keep you any longer. So thank you so much for sharing and taking time to do both of these podcast episodes. If you have any questions for Jen or Andy or Steve, you can reach out to them on Twitter or via email. And the contact information is actually listed on the MASSP.com website. If you go to our board page, they'll have all their contact info there. So thank you so much for sharing and giving honest answers to some challenging times that we are in, for sure. I just want to remind all of our listeners that you can access any of our podcasts by heading over to massp.com/podcasts, as well as the Apple Podcast Store. Thanks for listening, everyone, and have a great day.